In the late 1980s, the world was changing. Technology was advancing, but the gap between the rich and the working class was still large. Yet, love has a way of breaking through even the hardest barriers. In a small town, there lived a young man named David. He was in his mid-20s with strong hands from working hard every day. David was a mechanic, fixing cars at a local garage. His life was simple, but he had big dreams. Even though he came from a modest background, he believed he could make something more of himself. One late afternoon, after a long day of work, David's life changed forever. As he was walking home, he saw a sleek black car stop in front of a fancy boutique. A young woman stepped out. Her name was Sarah, and she was the daughter of one of the wealthiest businessmen in town. Sarah had everything. She went to fancy parties, took expensive trips, and lived a life most people could only dream of. But deep down, she longed for something real, something that money couldn't buy. A few blocks later, Sarah's car broke down. Without a driver to help, she was stuck and frustrated. David noticed her trouble and quickly offered to help. With quiet confidence, he opened the hood and fixed the car in no time. Sarah was grateful and offered to pay him for his help, but David smiled and said, "No need. Just happy to help." After that day, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about the kind mechanic with the gentle smile. She found excuses to visit the garage, saying her car needed more repairs or that something felt off. As they spent more time together, their conversations became the best part of their days. Even though they came from different worlds, Sarah and David felt a connection that was impossible to ignore. Sarah liked David because he treated her like a normal person, not someone special just because she was rich. And David, although he knew she lived a life of luxury, loved Sarah for her kindness and sense of humor, not for her money. But of course, their story wasn't without challenges. Sarah's father, Mr. Holden, had already made plans for her to marry Richard, the son of one of his business partners. When he found out about her friendship with David, he was furious. "You can't throw away your future for a mechanic," he shouted during one of their many arguments. "Love won't pay the bills, Sarah." But Sarah, calm and firm, replied, "I don't care about the money. David makes me happy." Her father didn't understand, and her mother, though kinder, also had concerns. In their world, love between a rich girl and a poor boy wasn't just unusual, it was forbidden. Meanwhile, David started to doubt himself. He loved Sarah deeply, but felt like he had nothing to offer her. He thought, "How could I, a mechanic with barely any savings, give her the life she's used to?" One evening, David met Sarah at the park where they often spent time together. The setting sun cast a golden glow as David said something that broke Sarah's heart. "I can't do this, Sarah," he said, his voice heavy. "I love you, but your father's right. You deserve more than I can give you." Tears filled Sarah's eyes as she held his hands. "You're wrong, David. You've given me everything that matters. Your love, your honesty. I don't care about anything else." But David couldn't shake his feelings of not being enough. He left that night, thinking that by leaving, he was doing the right thing for her. For months, Sarah was heartbroken. She refused Richard's proposal, even though her father was disappointed, and threw herself into work, trying to forget David. But no matter what she did, she couldn't stop thinking about him. A year passed, and Sarah had lost hope of ever seeing David again. But fate had other plans. David returned, this time with a new goal. He had spent the year working in a big city, saving enough money to start his own garage. It wasn't much, but it was a start. More importantly, it gave him the confidence to believe that he could build something real for Sarah. With his heart racing, David went to the Holden estate. Sarah was in the garden when she saw him. For a moment, they stood still, staring at each other. Then, with tears in her eyes, Sarah ran to him. "I'm sorry," David began, his voice shaking. "I thought I was doing the right thing by leaving, but I was wrong. I've missed you every single day. I don't have much, but I love you. I'm willing to work hard to build a life with you, if you'll still have me." Sarah smiled, her tears now of joy. "I've been waiting for you, David. I don't care about anything else. All I've ever wanted is you." It wasn't easy, but their love won in the end. Sarah's father, although still not completely happy, softened over time. He saw how determined his daughter was and saw the sincerity in David. In the end, he allowed them to be together, knowing that nothing could break their bond. Sarah and David built a life filled with love, hard work, and the happiness of knowing they had chosen each other. Not for wealth or status, but because their love was real. And in the end, that's all that mattered. Thanks for tuning in to Untold FM. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating content. Have a story of your own or something you'd like us to feature? Drop it in the comments below and we might share it in an upcoming video. Thanks for watching.